But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. In the parable of the sower, Jesus taught that the seed is the word of God, and the ground in which it is planted is our heart. In this parable, the second condition Jesus describes is the one who receives the seed on stony places. The Lord then explains that this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy, yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Our word tribulation is defined by Strong's as pressure, literal or figurative, derived from the root meaning to crowd, again literal or figurative. This particular word is found 45 times in the King James New Testament, while the root is found 10 times. In his book, Biblical Mathematics, Ed Vallow states that 45 means preservation, while 10 denotes the reestablishment of divine order. According to Strong's, the word tribulation is also rendered as affliction, trouble, anguish, persecution, and burdened. It should be apparent that the idea of tribulation incorporates anything bringing pressure into our lives. When the Lord's disciples questioned him about the sign of his coming and the close of the age, Jesus responded with a well-known list of pressures that would arise. First, many would come in his name and lead many astray. There would be wars and rumors of wars as nation rises against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Last, famines and earthquakes in various places. Jesus then stamped these turbulent events with a unique statement that is often overlooked. All these are but the beginning of the birth pains. Here, Jesus likens tribulation to birth pains. Now, consider what Jesus followed with after this statement. Keep in mind that he is talking to his disciples. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. Because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. The one who endures to the end will be saved. Who would be delivered up to tribulation? His disciples. Who would be hated by all nations for his name's sake and put to death? Again, his disciples. Who did Jesus exhort to endure to the end? His disciples. Where in all of this is there a promise of a catching away or removal from what was coming? There is none. But he did tell them, I am with you always to the end of the age. Friend, God is no respecter of persons. Therefore, what was true for his disciples then is true for those who would follow after. Further in Matthew 24, Jesus likens the coming of the Son of Man to the days of Noah, stating in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark and did not know until the flood came and took them all away. Who was taken by the flood? Those who did not know or unaware. So when Jesus said one will be taken and the other left, he was not referring to those who would be taken in a rapture, but to those who would be swept away by the flood. Was Noah and his family removed from the flood? No, but they were kept through it. What did Jesus say about those who received seed in stony places? For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Because of the word? Yes. Wasn't Noah faithful to the word he was given and therefore kept from the raging waters of the flood? Now, if tribulation is birth pains, then what is birth? The Apostle Paul said this, "My children, with whom I am again in labor until Christ is formed in you." It may seem puzzling, but it is in the midst of tribulation that Christ is formed. Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. Here, John sees a woman clothed with the sun who is with child, crying out in labor and in pain to give birth. A few verses later, we read this, "She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne." Who would this male child be if not Christ? Here's confirmation. "And he who overcomes and keeps my works until the end, to him I will give power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron. They shall be dashed to pieces like the potter's vessels, as I also have received from my Father." Revelation 12:5 coincides with Revelation 2:26 and 27, does it not? Didn't Jesus overcome and sit down at the right hand of the Father? But how does Jesus say it? "And he who overcomes and keeps my works until the end, to him I will give power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron." In other words, there would be others, and these are the ones who endure to the end. The word Christ means anointed, speaks both individually and collectively, always regarding the Spirit and not the flesh. It is the Spirit that is caught up, not the body. This is the process of resurrection.